Hello everyone, this is Matthew once again, and also, you're probably wondering, what's this doing here? Well, it is the year 2019, and yes folks, this is it, the big one. And we're not in June 8th yet since this movie came out, and now on, why not review it right away to celebrate it for its 30th anniversary? I've already reviewed this movie before, which is like last year, but now I want to review it again. This time, in widescreen. Instead of going more than 50 minutes long, I decided to keep it more condensed and more straight to the point and keep the pace tighter. And I'm going to do a review of Ghostbusters, a re-review. Once again, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Hal Ramis, the late Hal Ramis, with Rick Moranis, Annie Potts, and William Atherton, with film composer Ellen Burstyn, Ghostbusters theme song by Ray Parker Jr., written by Dan Aykroyd and Hal Ramis, and produced by Ivan Reitman, Meatballs, Stripes, Draft Day, you name it. I don't know why I'm reviewing this movie again, but I just figured why not, since it's 2019, Ghostbusters turning 35 this year, and I thought, why not? Especially this is a childhood of mine, so hopefully this is the last time I'm ever going to talk about Ghostbusters again, but hey, there's nothing wrong with reviewing a movie that you love so much and you want to talk about again. So, of course, I have the book, which is like 2 years old, so I got it around Christmas of 2017. And of course, I just watched Ghostbusters today, this movie, along with a sequel, finally watched it on Netflix because they're both remastered in 4K. And watching Ghostbusters 2 for the first time in 4K, that's remastered, it looks much better than the DVD. And this right here, the regular Blu-ray from the original Ghostbusters, was good, but the one in Netflix looks really good. And hey, if you want proof, y'all can see. Okay, it's kind of focused. Okay, so on the top left corner you have the original Ghostbusters, and then the top is the second one, and then the top right corner is the real Ghostbusters TV show. So, excuse the little glitch thing right there from my webcam. Yeah, I'll straighten up. Okay, so, anyway, without further ado, here's my re-review of Ghostbusters. And yes, I'm going to tell the backstory again, and I'll try to get to the point as possible. So, here I go. As you know, that when Dan Aykroyd was writing the script for Ghostbusters, he originally envisioned himself for having him to be his right stance, whereas Fagman was originally played by John Belushi, especially according to the movie, so it was originally supposed to take place in the future, but Ivan Reitman thought it better when they go into about ghost business, which is what wanted him to make the movie, especially get involved with the characters as opposed to all the futuristics like Blade Runner and such. But of course, around March 1982, John Belushi sadly passed away because he's always been addicted to drugs, which is so sad. So the role was later given to Bill Murray. And also, as Ernie Hudson is well known for playing Winston Sedmore, he wasn't the first choice to play that role. It was originally going to be Eddie Murphy. And if you think about it, if he had done this movie and Beverly Hills Cop, it would have been the biggest year for him. Eddie Murphy would have owned that year. But of course, Eddie Murphy wasn't able to do it, so he had to do Beverly Hills Cop and some movie he had to do that is not well received. So, that's why they put Winston in the second half of the movie. But nevertheless, Ernie Hudson is really good in the role. And of course, if you listen to the comedy track of Ghostbusters, the voice of Slimer was voiced by Ivan Reitman, and he also did the voice of Sewell. If you want a commentary of this film on DVD or Blu-ray or Ultra HD, Ivan Reitman confirmed that he was both the voice of Sewell and Slimer. And also, speaking of Slimer, when they were filming the movie, Dan Aykroyd says that he nicknamed Slimer as the ghost of John Belushi, as a more like Bluto from Animal House, which of course Animal House is a great movie. And of course we all know that Ghostbusters came out on June 8th, 1984, as it grossed more than $100 million at the box office, until it was reissued by Phantom Fans for its 30th anniversary, and grossed like $242.2 million against its $30 million budget. And the film itself was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for visual effects and song, but the song went to The Women in Red, and the visual effects were given to the Steven Spielberg movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And that movie, of course, Temple of Doom, was rated PG like this one, as well as Gremlins, which is why they had to create the PG-13 rating. And to this day, as is now 35 years old, it still is considered to be one of the greatest comedy films of all time. And as always, I still love Ghostbusters, and it still is a darn good movie. Definitely is a childhood of mine. So, no need to go too much detail into it, since I've already done a long review of it. If you want to see it, I'll put the link in the script if you want to see my older review. But for right now, I'm just going to make this a shorter review, just to get more to the point, so you don't have to hear me rambling on about this movie, since, well, because I love Ghostbusters. The movie itself is fresh and funny at the same time, and it definitely has a nice concept. And I thought the characters are very well done, as they actually do feel like real people, and they're definitely relatable. That you have Dr. Peter Fagan played by Bill Murray, who's pretty much more like the wise guy and a womanizer. And Bill Murray, he really is Dr. Fagan. He's awesome. He's really good. He's really funny, and I can say amazing things about Bill Murray, but no matter what Bill Murray does, his humor really fits the role really well. And the way he times his comedy, it really just is perfect. It fits like a glove. He really became Dr. Peter Fagan. And he is my favorite Ghostbusters. And Dan Aykroyd is always the heart of the team, and he's always getting excited, and Dan Aykroyd does a really good job with the role. And of course you have Harold Ramis, which of course has been like 5 years since he passed away, and that's just really sad, but hey, it is what it is. He's really good. He's pretty much more like the Mr. Spock of the group, which of course Harold Ramis made his character to be more like Spock from Star Trek. And he actually really fits the role really well. And Ernie Hudson, of course, he was in the second half of the movie. He was really good as with the Samuel. Rick Moranis is as funny as the nerdy neighbor Louis Telly, and Sigourney Weaver is great to look at as Dana Barrett. And William Harrison is really the guy, which of course, he's speaking the truth, but at the same time, you pretty much hate his guts. And the villain, Gozer, is definitely an iconic villain. Definitely is very more menacing. And the music by Melvin Bernstein is definitely iconic. It's completely unforgettable. Do 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 do. It's memorable. I really love the music. It's definitely one of his greatest scores he's ever done. And Ira Ryman, of course, does a really good job with the movie as well. He really knows how to do comedy. But at the same time, as well as good for doing comedy, he can also make it a pretty good scary flick, which of course I know famous comedy people will go on to make horror films, which of course you have someone like Jordan Peele when he made a movie like Get Out, or whatever famous one of comedians who do a horror film. Even Danny McBride and someone I don't know who will go on to write the Halloween reboot in 2018. And I have no problem with that. You get some famous comedian people, and somehow they get to make a good horror movie. And Ivan Reitman is well known for comedies, made a good horror movie. And of course, it's definitely one of the horror movies I grew up as a kid. Well, it's like probably next to Jurassic Park, which I know it's not a horror film, but it could be. Might as well be. And yes, you got the famous theme song. And it's something strange in a neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Yeah, very iconic. Definitely a memorable theme song. And the pacing is never boring. It doesn't feel like it's dragged out or anything. It goes straight to the point. It's going from point A to point B to point C. And it's very simple. Guys get kicked out of the university. They start their own business. The cash goes. They're becoming popular. All of a sudden, all heck starts to break loose. And then now they have to save the world as they go from nothing to somebody, zero to hero. And hey, many people grew up with this movie, and if you've seen Ghostbusters, then why am I keep talking about it? Just watch it. If you have not seen Ghostbusters, this is a darn good movie. I've already went in depth with this movie since last year, which is only like almost an hour long. If you want to know more details of my thoughts on the movie, then go check my overview. But for right now, this is just a shorter review on the movie. And of course, while the movie is really good, I don't consider Ghostbusters to be a perfect movie. It does have some issues. And one is minor, and one is I'm not a fan of. Which of course I've already said that in my older review. Start off with are the effects, which don't get me wrong, the effects are fantastic. It really does beat CGI, which I love CG, but there's a charm to these effects. And you feel like they're actually really there. They're in camera. There's no digital effects or anything like that at all. And it's not cartoony looking. They actually do have colors, but they're also quite scary. And I thought Slimer looks really good, the library ghosts, everything else. Who can you forget about these ghosts in the movie? They're really good. There's like a charm to him. Of course, yeah, you do have a stop-motion dog, which of course, it looks pretty fake-looking. It doesn't seem to hold up at all. Especially when I watched that movie on Netflix. It tried its best to not see the box. It won't look noticeable, but still, you can kind of see the box, so it does make it noticeable. But when it's like a puppet, it looks really good. And I thought it had some pretty good one-liners, which of course I can't forget about that. I mean, there are some good lines in the movie. Especially like, let's see if I can think of any lines here. Why worry? Each of us is wearing an office nuclear celery on his back. He slimed me. And of course, there's, alright, this chick is toast. We'll cross the street. Excuse me, Egon. You said cross the street is bad. You're going to danger our client. Nicely you paid him before she came a dog. Not necessarily dare say a very slim chance will survive. I love this plan. I'm going to be part of it. Let's do it. Do you want some coffee, Mr. Toad? Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some. That's great! Actual physical contact! I feel so funky. I mean, there's so many great lines in the movie, but everyone knows Ghostbusters, so why I need to say that? So yeah, as I said about the effects, they're really good, but of course we get some stop-motion dog, it doesn't seem to hold up really well. And of course, on the Stay Puft, it has a bit of an awkward shot where it's trying to head down to the building where Dana Barrett lives at. Especially that one shot where I think you see the shot of Stay Puft's foot, which it looks a bit wonky, and especially I noticed the building is like, because of the mapping, I always have a hard time to be, well, composite. But nevertheless, the effects are really good. They're very good. It really does beat CGI, no matter what. And of course, yes, as I said this on my older review, I am not a fan of that dream scene. I'm not. I know some people may be okay with it, but to me, back as a kid I didn't get it, but now all of them I do get it. But I still think it's absolutely, it does seem appropriate for it to be a PG movie, which of course it should have been PG-13 or just have it cut out. I mean, hey, I saw a clip of it when it was aired on ABC, and I was like, perfect! That's what it should have been, because we don't need to see that scene of Ray getting a BJ from a female ghost and showing off his underwear. His tidy whities. I mean, this is getting embarrassing to say. I mean, do you really meant the target is for kids? They want to see a scene of Dan Aykroyd having sex with a female ghost? Or, I hope I don't sound sexist. I hope not. If I do, I apologize. Was it a target for the female demographic audience that want to see Dan Aykroyd's underwear? Does anyone want to see that? No, nobody wants to see that. Absolutely not, and I didn't see it either, so don't forgive me for bringing up about the women's thing. I'm sorry. Oh, that's lame. I'm not a fan of that film. I'm sorry about that. Forgive me. Oh, but of course, as I said in my older review, it wasn't originally meant to be a dream scene. It was meant to be more like an actual mission in a place called Fort Detmering, where Ray was there. We're talking about the end of the world, about Judgment Day, and of course they go to Fort Detmering. They split up. Within takes some side of the building or the hallway, and then Ray checks out the office quarters. And of course he tries on the uniform with a hat and sword. Then a female ghost comes out of the cupboard, and then of course you know the rest. Ray freaks out how beautiful the ghost is. She disappears, takes off Ray's pants, and you know. And also, of course, she was originally meant to be Dan Aykroyd's love interest. Ray Stan's love interest, as I mean. So, which is interesting. I was not aware of that, but of course, that never came to fruition about trying to have a ghost be a love interest to Ray Stans. Which, of course, there'll be a movie called Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg of a character who is in love with a ghost. So, maybe Jerry Selker, the director of Ghostbusters, saw that movie and is like, you know what? Let's make a movie about that. A romantic love story of a ghost. that ghost in that movie really needs a comic book backstory, and where is she from, why did she get the same identity recording, and how she died, and this and that. But yeah. Okay, I think I had nothing about that dream scene. So those are my only nitpicks on the movie. The dream scene and some of the bad effects. But for the most part, the effects are really good. But nevertheless, it still is a classic comedy movie. It had a really good story. It has great characters, great direction, unforgettable score, unforgettable theme song, and yes, it really has a nice heart to it. Especially the ending where you love these characters. If they're not going to make it alive, then what choice do we have? So, if they're going to go all out with it, they're going to go out with it. See you on the other side, Ray. Nice working with you, Dr. Fakeman. You really love these characters, and then, of course, they won at the end. So it was like a win-win. So yeah, that's Ghostbusters. I really enjoyed this movie. It still is a classic comedy, and really deserves so, as always, an A-. And still is. If it had been for those flaws there, I would have given it an A+, but nevertheless, I think an A- is good enough for me. And it will always still be a childhood of mine. I really enjoyed Ghostbusters. If you haven't seen it, feel free to check it out. But if you want my long, in-depth review of the movie that goes on for like almost an hour, then I'll put the link in the description. So, yeah. So, that's Ghostbusters. So, let me know what you think of this video. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Feel free to put your comments down below, and don't forget the subscribe button. So, thanks for watching. Take care. And now, next up, from this 2-movie pack collection, double feature gift set, I'm going to review the second one. And that's coming up next. Thank you, and I'll see you guys later.